In this video, we'll wrap up this course by learning how to archive our MARI projects. Alright, so in the last video, we learned about a new feature here inside of MARI 3 called Sessions. Really great new feature, and we could actually come in here if we wanted to. I don't think I mentioned this, but in the File menu under Session with no project open, you can import a session right here. So now there is another way that we can take all of the data from a MARI project and package it up so that we can store it. Maybe it is on some kind of long-term storage drive, or maybe it's something that we're just wanting to easily package up so that we can transfer that project to another artist. It's actually called an archive, and I've gone ahead and included one of those for you here inside of this particular course's project files. So this is the archive that you have access to right here. This is the project that represents that in my Projects tab. And when I was saving out your MARI archive, let me show you that. I'll just drag over an Explorer window. It's this archive right here. When I was saving this guy out, it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is simply right-click over here and choose Archive. Now, I'm going to actually do that with this project here. It's much smaller and it'll take much less time. So if I wanted to go ahead and archive this up, I'll just save this in the same folder inside my project files and MARI files, and we'll just call this something like Demo Archive. There we go. And you can see the type of file it's saving out is an MRA file. That's really the only type of file we can save a MARI archive as. It's giving us an estimated size of the archive at being 447 megabytes up here, and that's actually quite a lot. Remember, that is an empty project, essentially. There are no channels, no textures, or anything inside of that. So, but the beautiful thing about this is that it creates a single file. In this case, it's an MRA file. You can see my previous project that I created, or my archive that I created in there. It's clocking it at a rather large 2.15 gigabytes. And if you downloaded the project files for this course, I do apologize for that. There's a lot of textures, and that was a pretty high resolution mesh. So the question becomes, though, why is that archive that large? Well, again, the geometry itself was, think about this, the geometry itself was near 600 megabytes in size. So that's a good chunk of it right there. But that archive right there also has a number of different patches inside of it. And each one of those was set to a size of 2K. So you're looking at, let's say, I don't have the exact number offhand, but let's say there were 20 patches inside that particular project. 20 2K textures for each layer in each channel that had layers. So when you start adding that up, it does end up being quite large here. So now when we look over here inside of, I'm going to cancel that dialog out, inside of the project files at the session that I just exported in the previous video. We'll come over here and look, and I'll just show you this. This is the size of that session. Now this is clocking it at a much smaller 219 megabytes. So you can see quite a difference. Now, granted, there's a lot of things that we're leaving out here, but we are saving a tremendous amount of space while getting out the really important things that we might need from our MARI project, like the textures, the channels, the shaders, and potentially even the geometry if we needed to. Now, this number does not reflect the geometry. It's important to remember that. But again, that is the difference in size between a MARI session and a MARI archive. Now, archives are pretty simple to open up inside of MARI. All you need to do is simply open the archive here by clicking on this button. It'll allow you to browse to the MRA file, and you can load that MARI archive up. But we learned that in a previous video, actually very early in this course. You learned how to open up that Assassin Final archive. But this is sort of a legacy means of archiving MARI projects. The new workflow and potentially preferred workflow is going to be this session feature that they've added here inside of MARI 3. All right, great. With that, that's going to actually bring us to the end of this Introduction to MARI 3. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. Hopefully you've learned a lot about MARI. I've definitely enjoyed being here with you. Thanks for joining me.